Is this thing on? Yeah, it is. Okay. Probably should move this. I feel like I have a sneeze coming. Okay, I think the sneeze is gone. Okay. Alright guys, hey, what is going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to reach out to hiring managers for a job without coming off as sleazy or, you know, hidden agenda oriented or two-faced or anything of that nature. In fact, the process that I'm about to show you right now will actually make them want to connect with you and be willing to help you out so that they can help you essentially get a job or even refer you into their company. So let's just get right into it. So the first step when it comes to reaching out to a hiring manager for a potential job is to be very clear about your job hunt. And what I mean by this is you want to essentially make a list of 5 companies that you want to work for, along with the specific role that you're trying to get into within each company. You know, maybe you're trying to become an HR coordinator at Microsoft and HubSpot and Vidyard or whatever company you're trying to get into. The key here is to be specific as possible so that you're not just spraying and praying, but instead you're very directional with what exactly that you want, so that when it comes time for, you know, a phone call or you meet someone or whoever it is, when they ask you, how can I help you, you don't give them a fluffy broad answer like, I just need a job, like I just need a job, and then they respond to you, okay, but like what kind of job? Like I know Walmart's hiring for a bunch of warehouse positions, Amazon's hiring for like a warehouse fulfillment center, like do you want that kind of job? You know what I mean? You want to be very specific, so when someone does ask you what kind of jobs you want, you can be like, oh well, actually I'm trying to work at a startup that focuses on environmental sustainability, and more specifically I'm trying to get into an HR role. You see, when you're very clear with where you're trying to go in terms of your career, then it makes it easier for other people to help you because they know exactly what direction you're going and how they can utilize their resource to help you out. So now that we have that clear, I'm gonna jump on my computer and show you the rest. Okay, so as you can see in front of you, this is my LinkedIn profile. So, you know, like when you have the list of companies that you want to work for and the role, instead of just jumping onto your LinkedIn profile, what I'd actually recommend you do is open an Excel sheet. So as you can see, you want an Excel sheet that looks sort of something like this. Again, name on the left-hand side, LinkedIn URL, company name, conversation date, and notes from the conversation. This is going to be super important. So once you have the Excel sheet ready, now it's time to go on LinkedIn and, you know, you have the list of 5 companies that you want to work for. Let's say one of the companies you want to work for is actually Microsoft, right? And let's say for the sake of example, you're trying to get into an HR role, right? An HR coordinator role or something of that nature. First thing, what you do is this. Go look up the company's company page. So as you can see, Microsoft, and I totally spelled that wrong, Microsoft. And you want to go to their company page, and once you're here on this company page, you want to click this button right over here, see all 183, almost 184, whatever. Just click it, man. Just click it, right? And then once you are here on this page, you will notice a number of people who work at this company. The first thing that you want to do here is this. You want to scroll down this list and try to note down, you know, influential key players within the company. So this means managers, team leads, senior employees, ideally people who would be managing you if you were to get into the HR role at Microsoft, right? So again, So when you're scrolling through this list, what you want to do is once you've identified someone, you want to basically, you know, ideally open a new tab, copy their LinkedIn, and then go to your Excel sheet and then start filling this stuff in, right? So as you can see, LinkedIn URL, copy pasted. Let's copy paste their name over here again, bam, and then company name is obviously Microsoft, okay? I don't know how to spell Microsoft. And then conversation day, we're gonna leave this empty and this one empty. Okay, as you can see, we have 1 row filled. And then what you wanna do is go back to this list over here and then keep filling that list up with about 10 people from each of the 5 companies that you're trying to get into. So in total, your Excel sheet over here should have about 50 contacts filled, okay? And once you have the 50 people on your Excel sheet, you want to basically send each of the particular individuals in your Excel sheet a connection request. So like you see over here, you see the connection request button. This is awesome. You're gonna click connect, but you do not want to click done. Instead, you want to click add a note. And more specifically, what you want to insert here is something along the lines of this, okay? This is very, very important. Hi, Laura. Hi, Laura. Hello, hello. My name is, you know, whatever your name is. I noticed you're currently an HR manager at Microsoft. I myself am looking to get into that space, and I was wondering if I could ask you for some career advice over a brief 15-minute phone call. I'd really appreciate hearing your insights. And then sign off a leaf, right? Obviously, whatever your name is, and then I still don't know how to spell Microsoft. How the heck? Okay, cool. Let's dissect this message and go over why this is effective. So as you can see in front of you, I copy pasted the message into like a Microsoft Word document, but let's go through each piece and I'll tell you exactly the psychology of why this is very effective. Hi Laura, you know, my name is Leaf. I noticed you're currently an HR manager at Microsoft. The reason why we're mentioning this is to show them that this isn't a simple copy paste pyramid scheme type of message that we're sending off to a bunch of people. We're showing that we actually took the time to personalize this particular message, right? People will respond to a personalized message over a bland copy paste sort of message. I myself am looking to get into that space. More particular, you know, we're telling them like, hey, I'm actually looking to get into an HR role, right? This gives them some context about why you're basically reaching out to them, okay? I was wondering if I can ask you for some career advice over a brief 15-minute phone call. And the reason why this is effective is, first of all, we're not asking them for a referral into a job right away, right? You know, I've worked in recruiting, and being a recruiter, I get a ton of people messaging me saying things like, hey Alif, here's my resume, can you refer me into a job? Can you refer me into a job? Can you refer me into a job? Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, that was so annoying. But, you know, when I get those kind of messages, honestly, I'll be very frank with you, it does get annoying, and I feel like the other person is sort of using me for a job. You know, when we're reaching out to them, ideally, you know, we're trying to get a referral into a job, but when we position it as a brief 15-minute phone call for career advice, we're in a way showing them that, hey, I actually value your expertise and your knowledge, and I would really appreciate if I could take some time to ask you for some advice. You know, people generally like giving advice and talking about themselves. Asking for a brief 15-minute phone call is a very simple ask compared to like, hey, can you refer me into a role? Or hey, can you connect me with this person? Or hey, here's my resume, can you review it or submit it to the hiring manager for me, right? It's such an easy ask, and again, the idea is to make them feel good about connecting with us. Have you ever had a younger cousin that reached out to you and maybe they were like, hey, whatever your name is, hey, Joanna. I'm gonna call you Joanna. Hey Joanna, what's going on? Hey Joanna, I'm about to go into university, and honestly, I feel very overwhelmed and I don't know really what to expect. Do you think, Joanna, I can ask you for some career advice on like how to be successful at university? You know, if you, Joanna, whatever, if you got that message, or you know, if your younger cousin ever asked you that, whether it's on a phone call or in person, whatever it is, right? If your younger cousin ever asked you that, you'd probably feel a little honored, right? They'd actually consider you for some advice, and more than likely, you're more than willing to help them out. Plus, it feels good to give advice, right? People love talking about themselves. You know, I'm a freaking Leo, so I love talking about myself and what I do. So use that to your advantage when you're job hunting. Okay. So again, you want to send out this exact message that you see in front of you to all 50 people. Now, I've literally used this exact strategy to land my last 3 jobs, and the students that I teach, I tell them to do this exact strategy, and they've been able to get on phone calls with like VPs and big important people, all these great things. Plus, they were able to actually land a job using this exact strategy, which is amazing. But like, let's say, you know, you sent out about 50 of these messages. How many people do you expect to reach back? So what you'll notice is that people will start replying, and replies will start trickling in as the week goes by, and approximately about 1 in 3 people will actually get back to you. So if you know you don't hear back from these people, do not be discouraged, because again, the chances are 1 in 3. And one thing to note is that when you send a connection request with the message, if they're seeing the connection request on their phone, which most likely they are, they'll see your connection request with the message, and from their end, they'll hit accept on their phone, and then the complete interface of the phone itself will change, and they'll forget that you included a message in your connection request. So if you ever have a moment where you see that someone accepted your connection request but they never replied to the message, be sure to follow up. Be like, hey, Laura, thanks again for connecting with me. Are you still open for a brief 15-minute phone call? I'm free tomorrow between these hours and I can reach at this number here. The next thing you want to keep in mind is that when people start accepting your request and they say, yes, I'm more than willing to get on a phone call with you, you want to make it as easy as possible for the other person to get on a phone call with you. So if they say something like, yes, Joanna, I'm free tomorrow. Let me know what time works for you. You want to reply with, awesome, Laura, thank you so much. I'm actually free between the hours of 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. and I can be reached at this number. Feel free to let me know what time works for you, and I'm looking forward to your call, right? Again, we're providing them our phone number, and we want to make it as easy as possible for them to get on a phone call with us. So we don't tell them things like, well, I'm free anytime, let me know what works for you, right? No, you want to be very, very clear. You want to proactively provide the phone number, all that good stuff. Also, one thing I've noticed from my personal job hunting experience, whether, you know, you might be debating on, should I do a phone call or should I actually meet up with them for coffee? Now, here's my take. I'd recommend you actually start with a phone call first to essentially establish a rapport and get them to like, know, and trust you before they commit to like a huge coffee chat that actually requires arranging a time and place and doing a lot of back and forths and things of that nature, right? I remember I was reaching out to someone who worked at Deloitte, and I told them like, hey, you know, I try to make it as easy as possible for them. So I'm like, hey, I know you probably end work around 5 o'clock and you work downtown. There's a Starbucks right next to you. Can I come by, you know, on a Thursday at 5 o'clock at that Starbucks, and I'll meet you there for just about 15 minutes just for a coffee chat. And you know, we did a lot of back and forth, and because of that back and forth, I ended up losing him as a potential lead to a job, I guess you can say. Again, my advice is to always try to go for a phone call to establish that rapport before you go for a coffee chat or a lunch or whatever it is. Now, don't get me wrong, like, you can go directly for a quick coffee chat. I've literally been in a situation where, you know, I reached out to someone because I wanted to become a copywriter at an ad agency, and I reached out to them and I was like, hey, can I just buy you lunch? Like, can I just buy you dinner? Yeah, it was dinner, I think. Can I just buy you dinner? That's it, and I just want some advice. That's all, right? And he was like, whoa, like, that's a lot. You know what? I'm just good with coffee, and that's good enough, right? We actually ended up meeting up. I got some really good advice from them, and it was a good time. So, do keep that in mind, but again, rule of thumb, phone call first, then in-person meetup. Okay, so what you will notice is once you get on the phone call with them, a phone call is very important compared to like a voice note or like a email kind of back and forth, because they get a sense of who you are, they can feel your energy, and you know, people are more likely to refer someone into a role if they like, know, and trust them. And the best way to establish that like, know, and trust factor is to essentially get them to feel your energy, and the best way to feel your energy is through a phone call. Even better if it's a video call, but that might require a lot more arranging and making sure they're in front of a computer and all this stuff. So I'd recommend go with the convenient, easy to do phone call to establish that like, know, and trust. Here's another quick hack that I've sort of learned as I did this exact process is once you're on this list that you see in front of you and you notice people have this little icon over here, right? These are going to be the good people to reach out to. Why? Because let's say Rhonda over here, you notice she has an icon. When you go on her profile right here, as you can see, you have two options. You can connect with them or you can send them a direct message. And what happens is when you click message, you almost get to send them like this email sort of thing here. And I have this theory, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that when you send this exact message using this format, using the message button, it actually appears in their inbox. So they're more likely to actually see the message that rather than sending a connection request. So, you know, if you are scrolling down and you see this little icon, these are the golden type of people you want to reach out to. Literally, I recently reached out to this one lady through a message over Connect, and I sent her both, I believe, and she didn't actually accept my connection request, but she replied right away within an hour or so because I sent a message. I believe she got the message because when you send them a message like this, it appears in their email inbox, so hence you get more attention. So when you see this little box over here, as you can see in front of you, I'd recommend you do the same type of messaging, like the 15-minute career conversation or career advice call, whatever, right? You want to write that message over here. The good thing is you don't have a character limit with this part, so that's the best part. But you have the option of writing a subject line, and I actually recommend you write a subject line that says quick question. Okay, that's it, quick question. Because the thing is, when someone reads a subject line like this, a very informal kind of personalized subject line like this, it captures their attention, and it's not like a marketing kind of email, you know, those spammy emails. In fact, it seems like a message you would get from a friend. So I'd recommend, you know, ask them for career advice, don't copy paste. Write that message down about asking them for a career advice over a 15-minute phone call, while at the same time using this as a subject line. And most likely the people who have this icon on their profile, they will reach out to you more likely than someone who does not. So keep that in mind. Alright guys, so that is it for the video. I hope you found that helpful. If you do have any questions related to job hunting, whatever it is, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn over here and on Instagram, on the gram. Yeah. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.